Hey guys, we are here with Rebecca, the product manager at West Coast Seeds, and today we're going to talk about some exciting varieties. Let's talk about the Burgundy sprouting broccoli.
One of my favorites. Full-size heading broccoli can be challenging to grow. It has a long season. They can be temperamental with changing weather. And then you've got all this time you're waiting and waiting, 60 to up to 90 days for one crown of broccoli. But if you plant a sprouting broccoli, and in particular this gorgeous burgundy, which is this really pretty purple florets, you get this like 3, 4 inch loose main crown. You cut that and you're inducing production of the florets. And so you can keep those florets harvested for up to 6 weeks. You can plant this from early spring all the way into fall.
Okay. When do you suggest starting them and can they be planted multiple times in the season? You
Oh,
mentioned
yeah,
50
absolutely.
days. That's crazy. That's really fast, especially for
Yeah.
broccoli.
So for all brassicas, definitely recommend starting in a tray, and at about 3 weeks, you can plant them out into your garden. We have about 40 days, 38 days. So what that means is from transplant. So from the time you start it, you've got 3, 4 weeks in your tray, and then another, 40 to 50 days before you're harvesting. And you can be starting these. You want to get them out. They can withstand light frost for sure. So whenever your first or your last frost date is, think about starting them maybe 6 weeks before your last frost date.
Speaking to commercial and small market farmers, what about this variety makes them appealing and how would you recommend selling them if you have any tips?
Yeah, first thing is the color. Everybody loves purple and having something out of the ordinary. And like I said, heading broccoli, it takes a lot of time to get to that point where you're harvesting the first crown. So you do have
Mm-hmm.
a faster maturing broccoli. You have those multiple harvests. So you've got the 4 to 6 weeks of harvest, and you can start with bunching them. They make a gorgeous bunch. And then maybe you're selling in bags or in a clamshell, you're selling just the florets at a time when maybe those stems are getting shorter in later harvests. So you have a lot more flexibility. You have a lot of color, which draws a lot of attention. You just color that's going to draw people in, and just a really nice, flexible product. It's so nice. Everybody loves to have their food like, a salad mix that's already cut up for you and, washed for
Totally.
you. It's really nice to have this end product in your hand, and those stems are really tender and tasty. So flexibility of harvest, the amount of harvestable crop per plant, and just a really gorgeous presentation.
And
And
they're almost like a cut and come again flower from what I could see, where it's like when you
yep,
harvest it, you encourage more growth. I just thought it was so
exactly.
cool.
You do want to keep them harvested to encourage that production of those florets, of those side shoots.
What kind of problems do you run into these pest wise or anything else? And how do they do in trials?
All brassicas attract pests. There is a host of pests from just flea beetle damage on the leaves, which aren't going to affect the quality of your florets unless they really are destroying the plants early on. But you do have a number of pests that do love brassicas. It is definitely recommended to cover all of your brassicas, at least when they're young, with a floating row cover to help them get to that point where they're so vigorous that the pests aren't going to do that much damage. But it is a little unsightly and a little gross when you end up with caterpillars in your brassica. So there are some organic sprays that can be used. Uh, you can even use them up to once a week to
Very cool.
kill some of those pests. Yeah.
How do they do in the trial fields then? Did you
Oh,
notice?
great, great. I've been working with this variety for years, and it's fantastic. Yep.